At 6:37 in the morning on the 10th of July 2025, the radar on the destroyer USS Samson suddenly lit up with a mysterious signal. A small boat bearing no flag or radio signal sped up while tossing dark packages into the vast sea, raising alarms about a covert drug smuggling operation. In the quiet radar room, the crew quickly confirmed it was a sleek vessel skimming the waves. Silent to all calls. Comment the word 1 to find out if the USS Samson will uncover what's behind this ghostly boat. Stay tuned to discover the thrilling truth turned a routine patrol into a tense and urgent situation. The forward camera captured swirling water and spotted scattered packages in the wake, a desperate move criminals often make to let the ocean swallow their secrets. High-speed boats like this are a favorite of smuggling cartels from Colombia, and records show these routes move about 2 tons of cocaine daily through the eastern Pacific, where quick detection can slash massive illegal profits. However, this blip held more than meets his eye, and what unfolded next on the water promised a risky, calculated adventure. Commander Matthew Harding swiftly deployed an MH-60R Hawk helicopter. He put the ship on combat level 3, identifying this as an interdiction fort in the Pacific Watch operation ran by the U.S. Northern Command to counter drug smuggling from Central America. He issued orders from the bridge atop, so the flight crew started spinning rotors and the entire destroyer shifted to a higher alert state with sirens sounding softly but firmly. This setup let the crew lock down areas and prepare for action as the mission entered into a larger plan involving security and Coast Guard units monitoring sea routes from Colombia and Mexico to the U.S. coast. The operation aimed to cut off supply lines fueling criminal groups, and Harding knew fast action could mean the difference between a successful stop and a valuable shipment slip. The MH-60R, known for its blend-off sensors and weapons, took off smoothly in the morning air, and the pilot veered southeast to close the gap at top speed. This helicopter carried forward-looking radar along with infrared cameras to track engine heat, making it highly effective at spotting small boats trying to hide among waves. The flight crew, including the door gunner, reviewed rules of engagement as they regularly trained to handle these situations without causing bigger issues done in joint efforts. Like this, the Navaprovid's rapid reach and partners handle the legal side afterward, covering vast ocean areas where smugglers think they can outrun patrols. Pacific Watch's ACI strategy to tackle threats before they reach land, and it combines ships, aircraft, and intelligence to create a night trapping illegal activities. Music, for example, data from surveillance planes, feeds into ship computers so commanders like Harding can predict the boat's next move based on wind and currents. Reports show these coordinate moves seized over 50 tons of illegal drugs in the eastern Pacific in 2025, up 20% from 2024 thanks to better information sharing and more assets at SEA. These numbers prove how TAM coordination turns routine patrols into effective strikes on networks, fueling violence back home. As Reaper 1 approached, the suspect boat sped up to escape and kept tossing packages overboard. But after ignoring warnings, the gunner fired disabling shots to force the boat to a complete stop. The helicopter dropped to 200 feet for a clear view with tracking gear, and the pilot circled to send radio messages in English and Spanish urging the boat to stop. When that failed and the boat zigzagged wildly, the gunner carefully aimed at the stern, firing bursts that sparked and shut down the outboard without sinking the hull. This method kept things controlled so no one got hurt unnecessarily, and it showed how Navy tools adapt from war zones to maritime policing. The disabling shots were fired precisely from a door-mounted M240 machine gun, piercing just enough to end the chase without causing an explosion. The pilot held steady while banking. South rounds hit their mark, and smoke arose as the boat slowed to a drift. Tactics like these rely on hours of practice, as a missed shot could let evidence float away or endanger both. More broadly, these actions deter cartels by raising costs, and experts see smugglers shifting to harder to detect methods. One package burst open on impact with hull during the panicked tossing, spilling white powder into the foam, highlighting the crew's panic under. Chases like this in 2025 have stopped 15 vessels at supply points, keeping about $600 million in street value from reaching users, and that success comes from blending air power with ship support. These numbers underscore why investing in versatile gear pays off, especially as criminals test limits with faster designs or decoy runs. This phase of the operation showed the Navy's skill in switching roles quickly. From missile defense to hunting small threats, it sends a clear signal that open waters are not as safe. Haven. The MH-60R's role here went beyond flying, it acted as eyes in the sky. extending the destroyer's reach, blending speed with smart tech to match basic boats. Analysts predict that as cartels invest in stealthier vessels like semi-submersibles, skimming gunderwaves, the military will ramp up drone use for wider sweeps, possibly boosting interdictions by 25% in the coming months. This shift could force smugglers into riskier paths, weakening their grip on trade routes and cutting market flow. Harding watched from the combat center as screens showed the helicopter steadily, and he confirmed that it was disabled but intact for inspection. The crew's quick calls kept everyone in sync to avoid surprises during the slowdown. This moment built on years of training where teams learned to balance force with and it fits a model where USFORCEs shape battles far from home. If pattern holds, more encounters will involve advanced evasion tech, pushing the Navy to innovate with AI-guided patrols predicting moves before they happen. The disabling shot ended the chase cleanly with no rounds aimed at people, and the sea grew calm around the hut. It showed how measured steps can achieve goals without escalation. Angero injuries reinforced the value of training intense HOTSPOTS. As smoke cleared, the focus shifted to recovery, but the bigger lesson lies in adaptation. Warships like Samson proved they can pivot to any threat from state rivals to shadow networks. Forecasts suggest eddy pressure will cut smuggling volumes by 10% yearly as losses pile up and alternatives dwindle. Now, with the vessel floating helplessly and the helicopter maintaining overwatch, boarding teams prepared to approach and secure what remained, shifting the mission from a high-speed chase to a full assessment. VBSS teams from USS Samson and the U.S. Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment Board detaining two suspects and collecting over 47 bales of cocaine floating nearby, weighing about $560 kg and worth $58 million wholesale. They sped in on riverboats, reaching the target in 4 minutes, shouting commands in Spanish and English to understanding, making to men around 30 years old kneel with hands raised before testing the white powder on site to confirm it was real. This swift move kept the scene under control, and the mixed team of sailors and officers worked seamlessly to retrieve floating bales while the helicopter circled above for added. The boarding followed strict steps to avoid mistakes, so rifles stayed aimed, no one fired. As Thetwo men complied without resistance. Crew pairs used poles to hook bales for retrieval, marking spots where some sank too fast to grab and test kits. Turn it blue in seconds to confirm the drug type. Actions like these show practice pays off in real time, as losing even one bale could weaken a later case. In impact, this haul matched a June 2025 interdiction where forces seized 7,850 pounds of similar cargo, proving coordinated teams recover evidence well before waves or winds scatter it. These seizures disrupt supply chains, for groups relying on steady flow to maintain power, and each kg pulled from the sea means less cash to buy weapons or pay operatives. Experts see these efforts as key to weakening durations tied to bigger threats, like funding instability in home countries. If seizures keep rising, cartels may too costlier concealment methods, slowing their pace and opening chance for more arrests. Under international law, a flagless boat is stateless and can be legally seized, so elevating suspects in arrest processes were handed to the Coast Guard for legal action. Authorities shifted from Navy leadership to the Coast Guard's District 11 in California, ensuring every piece followed guidelines while the warship, the speed and strength needed to get there first. This handoff kept things fair and thus military ships spot and stop targets from afar. But enforcement experts build cases that hold up. No national claims simplified the boarding, and the handoff happened fast with reports sent over secure lines to start legal steps. Teams logged photos, samples, and statements on the spot, turning a chase into solid evidence courts can use. The system has supported over 100 major interdictions in 2025, cutting cartel success rates by 25% in monitored zones. More patrols close gaps. Joint work like this builds on years after Ning, where Navy tools like radar and helicopters pair with Coast Guard skills in search and rights reading. It creates a complete shield against flows, harming. And data from early 2025 shows over 242,000 pounds of cocaine removed from markets, double last year's same period. This big leap comes from better info sharing and more ships at hotspot standing, billions in profits that could buy influence or arms. For commanders, success isn't just numbers, it shapes how enemies act next, pushing them into riskier moves that expose weaknesses. Forecasts suggest cartels facing these barriers will invest in stealth submarines to run underwater, but U.S. forces can counter with drone sensors, possibly boosting arrests by 15% by year-end. These shifts will force a route rethinking, making the fight harder for smugglers while keeping sea safer for trade. The suspects sat quietly in holding aspels were stacked for counting, and officers reviewed the chain of custody to lock in the wind. Phase highlighted flexibility in roles from chase to seizure, sending Aquiot warning that teamwork outpaces solo efforts. Yet, with the boat now empty and drifting loosely, attention turned to its damaged state. A newest Wade demanded careful thought. Before the mission could close, the suspect boat was deemed unseaworthy with severed image, no radio and no safety gear, making it a floating risk that could threaten other vessels. So, the USS Samson commander ordered its destruction, with directed explosives. Crew experts checked the fiberglass hull for wide cracks from prior shots, found the engine fully wrecked, and noted no barrage pump or signal lights, making towing too risky in busy waters where it could hit cargo ships or small fishing boats. This call came after careful talks, as leaving the hull adrift could cause a sea. In traffic-heavy routes, and Theti knew quick removal kept everyone safe without wasting resources on a long. Crew members climbed aboard one last time to grab valuable items like fuel cans and navigation gear, ensuring nothing harmful was left before setting up the end. Steps like these follow standard rules to reduce pollution, showing how operations blend care with speed to handle remains from an interdiction. In similar cases this year, about 42% of seized vessels were flagged as hazards and removed, clearing trade routes without adding issues like debris blocking lanes. This practice draws on lessons from past trips where ignored wrecks caused delays or minor collisions. So, forces now prioritize clean closure to support global shipping. Analysts note these decisions save time and money, letting ships like Samson resume patrols faster and cover more ground for new targets. Music looking ahead, as smuggling tools get advanced, disposal rates may hit 50%, forcing groups to build cheaper disposable items, hurting their profits over time. The destruction went precisely and quietly, with just a small blast, as the boat sank into the ocean, ending its illegal trip with no lethal shots fired and no one hurt. Boarding teams placed small charges after create a controlled hole at 10:12. Silently removing the hazard while the helicopter watched from above for any. This avoided big explosions that could draw attention or cause waves, letting the boat sink smoothly in minutes, leaving only bubbles on their surface. Music. The air pilot kept scanning nearby traffic, ensuring the area stayed clear during the short process, wrapping up without hitches. Methods like these avoid drama while working well, and zero injuries in all such missions. This year highlights strong preparation as Navy and Coast Guard teams managed safety for 48,000 pounds of seized cargo. Music. These numbers come from joint report. Training turns risky work into routine, protecting crews and bystanders. From a wider view, these quiet endings fit strategies prioritizing control over flash, ensuring missions close on terms set by involved forces. Keeping things low-key aids long-term efforts, as loud actions could push opponents to hit back harder or seek media spin. In the coming months, if tech upgrades and lift vessels withstand damage better, teams may shift to smarter tools like remote cutters, possibly cutting injury risks further while boosting success in tough spots. This part of the operation stressed the need for full cleanup after a bust, blending tech with judgment to handle every loose end. The crew felt a sense of closure as Theria cleared, knowing they turned a problem into nothing but open water. Yet, beyond the immediate win, it sparked thoughts on how these steps fit into bigger plans against hidden set. Commanders like Harding see these moments as building blocks for stronger defenses, where each sunk hull leads to a pattern weakening criminality. Music. Forecasts suggest consistent approaches will cut active smuggling routes by 15% next year as losses stack up, forcing ships to land routes easier to monitor. This could ease pressure on ocean patrols, letting them focus on emerging issues like hybrid vessels blending speed with stealth features. Samson's radar screen showed calm again, but the crew reviewed logs to note what worked best for later trips. This attention to detail strengthens units, turning single events into lessons shaping global training. As global trade grows, keeping routes free becomes vital, and these tactics prove essential in that goal. With the area secured and the on reflections turn to the mission's full scope from start to sink and its meaning for ongoing battles in distant waters. This final removal ended on threat and paved the way for viewing the operations, strategic value and forecasts for the evolving fight. The USS Samson's interdiction on the 10th of July 2025 showcased a model of Navy and Coast Guard action, proving US warships can shift from missile defense to counter-smuggling in hours. sending a clear warning to cartels that no ocean corner is safe. Ali Burke-class destroyers like Samson switch roles fast using advanced radar to spot small boats as well as track high-speed threats and deploy helicopters to chase smugglers with the precision as hunting submarines. This flexibility lets the Navy pressure criminal networks far from our shores, shaping dangers before they reach coastal waters. Music, and it blends raw power with legal precision to disrupt illegal flows effectively. That morning, Samson's radar locked onto a high-speed boat 380 miles off Opuko, and within minutes the MH-60R Seahawk launched racing at 120 knots to intercept a 560 kilograms cocaine haul worth $58 million wholesale. Such adaptability reflects years of design where ships built for global conflicts tackle shadow economies, fueling violence. Each bust like this hits cartels hard, forcing them to burn cash on new boats or riskier routes, often leading to more. For instance, a similar interdiction off Panama in March 2025 seized 4,200 pounds, showing versatile assets consistently break supply chains. This operation sexes goes beyond seized drugs as it weakens cartel confidence in safer routes, pushing them into costlier, less reliable plans. Joint Navy and Coast Guard efforts have cut smuggling success rates by 25% in monitored Pacific zones. Since 2024, with over 100 interdictions logged this year, that number reflects tight coordination where warships provide reach and speed while Coast Guard teams ensure arrests showed up in court. In the bigger picture, these actions don't just stop drugs, but also related threats like arms smuggling, often sharing the same routes. Applause. Emerging patterns show cartels adapting with stealthier tools and intelligence efforts, detecting up to 85 semi-submersible vessels by late 2025. Up from 60 last year. These low-profile crafts, built in secret yards, carry tons of cargo and dodge errata by skimming waves. Recent cases like a July 2025 bust off El Salvador seizing 1.3 tons from a whale-shaped submersible show smugglers distinct bold designs to blend into Thesia. Such moves counter patrols but raise stretching budgets and exposing more operatives to capture. If cartels lean harder into these advanced subs, the Navy could boost drone patrols for early detection, possibly raising interdictions by 20% without sparking larger fights. Drones extend vision over vast waters, letting ships like Samson focus on fast chases, while unmanned systems map sneaky routes. Analysts see this tech shift as key as it maintains pressure without adding destroyers and aligns with Pacific Watch's goal of controlling threats at source. For example, 2024 trials how drones double detection range off Colombia, hinting at future wins if scaled up. This mission's ripple effects touch allies and foes, reinforcing us reservado protect open seas and choke criminal profits. It tells cartels their investments aren't safe, as each lost shipment cuts funds for corruption or arms. Sailors and Coast Guard officers trained to act fast and smart turn these moments into lasting impact, proving teamwork and superior tools outmatch raw numbers. As the campaign evolves, expect tightened around smuggling hubs with losses potentially cutting flows by 15% by 2026, reshaping how these groups operatedly. What do you think of this operation? Can efforts like Pacific Watch truly dismantle criminal networks, or will cartels find new ways to slip through? Leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn in notifications to catch more gripping videos on bold operations and top-tier strategies. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.